state legislators.
This is a you question.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. I would say this. There's a select group of Republican legislators, primarily higher up in leadership, who still want to introduce a wake surf industry favorable bill. And we can equate maybe some political action contributions related to that. We can't prove it. It's all dark money. But there's a very small group of them very hell-bent on it. I don't know that I want to name Tyler August. I don't want to name names here. But, you know, again, we have good relationships with Speaker Voss and with Speaker Lemahieu, the state Senate caucus on the Republican side. But again, there's just a couple folks that keep pushing this thing. And we've got a lot of friends on the Republican side and a lot on the Democratic side that are working to make sure that the bill either doesn't see the light of day, or if it gets out, we're going to knock it out in committee or defeat it very quickly. Yes, sir.
I saw that bill when they first wrote it a few months ago. I follow your website anytime. Do you know, are they going to try and make it so that townships cannot overwrite this law?
We don't know. Our tenants are.
Repeat the question.
Yeah, the question was, would a state law override any local ordinances that a town might put on wake surfing? We don't know. We know that the wake surf industry would love to have all town ordinances overridden. And that's what they tried to do with the legislation that was dropped about a little less than 2 years ago. They can go a number of different ways. One of the ways they could go is they could say local control could go up or down. So if you had people at a local town that said, well, we want to wake surf on a lake less than 50 acres, or we want to wake surf 100 feet from shore, arguably they could take the levels down. We may see a situation where they say towns that have an ordinance in place, you're grandfathered. And everybody who has an ordinance in place by December 31st, you're good. Everybody else, no local ordinances. We just don't know. But I will tell you that there are some great legislators who are very, very strong on the local control issue. And we think we've got that one in pretty good shape at the moment. Again, subject to more lobbying from the wake surf industry. And they've got 2 professional lobbyists out there right now, very good ones, that are in the Capitol, going up against our lobbyists, as we speak, literally day after day.
Yeah, I want to add to that.
Yeah, Rich.
There is a preemption law, the state does have on the books where it does state that a local ordinance cannot be stricter than a state law. So I don't know how that would play in, but it is on there. If you look up the preemption bill, so maybe if they did that, they could say, well, that's what you got to go at 210. You can't go 420. I don't know.
We don't know what would be in their bill, but we know that. I'll give you one line of argument though that we heard from a Republican legislator this past week. This legislator is super pro-wake vote. This is somebody who's been very publicly pro-wake vote for the last 2 years. And what this person said to another colleague was, they said, look, state law is 100, can't make a wake, any boat, 100 feet from shore. Some local lakes go 200 feet. And so this person said, hey, we're, the wakeboard industry, right now at 0 depth and 100 feet from shore. So if we go 200-300 feet from shore and 10 feet of depth, man, we are compromising, okay? That's the other part of this. You will have a couple legislators that are going to tell you compromise. Well, I think as we've seen, the science is in. It's really clear. You got to stay way offshore, and you got to stay in deep water to protect your lake. And so there really isn't a compromise here on this. Other questions anyone has? All right, I'll turn it back over to Tom. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Okay, we've videotaped all 4 of the sessions, and we will be posting them on our website. So if you have neighbors and friends that weren't able to be here today, give us a couple of days to make it happen, but direct them to go take a look on our website. I'm going to ask you, would you like to take a 5-10 minute break and come back for questions, or do we just want to, we'll do the questions now and call it a wrap? So, okay, who's got a burning question that didn't get answered? Anybody? Yes.
So I actually have 2 of them, but I'll take the one. How come there really aren't any studies on Mill Pond?
The question is why don't we have any studies on Mill Pond?
And the reason why I ask that is, it is so close to the 50 acre cutoff, and on all those maps, there's this teeny little triangle. Why can't at least there be limits put on that lake? Because that's where the greatest impact of, there's a lot of people on that lake.
Yep.
And
So we understand that. We also know that there's, what we really didn't get addressed today is the compounding, when you get multiple boats on, when the waves build on each other. And on a small lake like Mill Pond, it really raises havoc with the shoreline. And we are going to plan to do some studies to show that, because everything has just been focused on one boat, one pass. We want to also be able to show that when you do multiple passes with multiple boats, it is not just additive, it's incremental. And we want to prove that, and I promise you we will do that on Mill Lake. Jim?
I have one comment about Mill Lake. As all the other lakes in the area are going, that recommended zone, they're big enough, Milwaukee, Lake Geneva, Lake Green, they're either going 500 or 700 feet from the shore. Mill Lake is just barely over 100 acres. If you go 500 feet, there is nowhere. You're probably
No place to go.
There's no place to.
In 2018 though, remember they did put the 200-foot limit for wave
They did.
on Mill Pond.
They
So
marked.
they said 200 feet, and you gotta, go counterclockwise, right? The problem is, the whole lake's 200 feet, so they didn't give you any break there. And that what they should have said is, no surfing on Mill Pond. But what happened was, the rest of the lake said, well, we don't want all those people out on our end. That's why the ban's the only way to go, and I hate to say ban, but we ban skiing after 6 o'clock on the weekends. We don't let you go faster than 10, slow no wake before 10 o'clock on weekends. So we've had we've had bans. So we banned the airplane from landing. Honestly, I'd rather see an airplane land on a lake than wake surf.
Jesse?
I think that's a good point on the mill. One thing that I lose sleep on, so whatever we do on mill, I lose sleep on what is happening to the dam under.
Yeah.
That thing could just break loose and we have no lake.
Yep.
So whatever we do, I think there needs to be an additional emphasis put on what is happening to that specific area.
Yep.
I view this happening underwater.
Yep, that's a really good point. So what Jesse's saying is that we need to really understand what that wave action is doing underneath the surface along where the bank is holding the dam back. Like, are we creating damage there that's gonna long-term be a huge issue for us? Yes?
I'll say just kind of a positive message, like, we've been through this before. Like 20 years ago, if this was a bar, you could have 5 people smoking in here. And if you weren't a smoker, too bad. You had to deal with it. And you had to go home with your clothes smelling like crap, your hair smelling like crap. All the drapes in here would have to be redone. We came together and we said, look, 5 smokers may be fun for you guys. It's terrible for everybody else. You can't do it indoors. You can't do it where it's negatively impacting everybody else. So we've done this before.
Yep, and that's a great analogy, and I'll even build on that. So you can talk to a smoker until they're blue in the face and they will not believe the data. And we're kind of dealing with that with the wake surfers and some of the leaders that are addressing this topic. So I'm over trying to convince them, because we're going to be able to talk to them until they're blue in the face. But it's important for you, the audience, to understand that this is a big issue, and it's going to take all of us collectively to come together to make something happen. Because we are the constituents, and at the end of the day, they do need to listen to what we want. Yeah.
From a legal standpoint, with the towns of East Troy and Quantico pass their own laws to please their constituents, regardless of what the local, the state reps and senators. Just pass a local law that pleases the community. And that's the way to go.
Yeah. But we have to convince our local leaders that this is the right things to do.
There have been, I think it's up to 65 municipalities that have done that. Covers, I think it's over
380 lakes.
Yeah. So, in huge momentum, people are waking up to what these boats are doing to their lakes. And, there's some talk, some lawsuits and this and that, but, pretty much, you know, the local municipalities have been given the right to regulate their lakes locally, and that'll all be sorted out, but, I agree with you, that's the way to go
Yeah,
until.
the voice of the people triumphs, that's the opinion.
Maybe.
If you
Yeah.
guys would think to add,
Yeah.
these local ordinances, there's another organization who's been down here as well.
Glass Wilderness Alliance, want to give them a big shout out. Glass
Yes.
Wilderness Alliance, big shout out for them.
Yeah.
They have been running this local ordinance thing across the state, and they have just been really successful and doing great work, so props to them.
Carol is here, Richard could not be with us, but they've done phenomenal work, and been a huge help to us. huge
Wonderful,
support.
wonderful partner.
Yeah.
Yes, in the back.
I guess I'd just like to commend you guys for everything you've done, and coming wealthy out of Burlington and Browns Lake and Mars Lake. We are ready, we got surveys done, we got petitions done. The town board asked us to come back with the voice of the people, all this data. We're hoping to get on the agenda and get the draft ordinance started in the process, next month, so.
Good luck. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Yes.
So I just have another statement, and to me, the fact that only one town board member is present here today, regardless of whether this is live streamed, makes a major statement. And I think all of us sitting in this room need to let our chairman know that that is disappointing.
It is very disappointing.
And I'm sorry, however they stand, biased or not biased, the fact that they are not sitting in this room and hearing the voice of the people is egregious.
It really is. And they requested for us to go out and get data specific to Lake Beulah, that's what they wanted. So I'm very saddened that they're not here. Barb Church, who has been on our side, that is a wonderful town board that I think truly represents the lake and the people who live on the lake, continues to do a fabulous job. So thank you, Barb, for the work that you do. Okay, any other questions?
Would it be helpful for people to go to Madison on Tuesday if the bad bill drops?
Great question. So, the committee that we think a bad bill would be heard in is, I think it's the forestry interpreters. The other day, yesterday, they scheduled hearings for Tuesday afternoon, starting at noon, on a couple completely unrelated bills to Wayside. Now, does that mean that they're going to hear just those unrelated bills?
We don't know, but you have to give 24-hour notice of any bill you're gonna have a hearing for. So what we're doing is we're just watching Monday at noon to see if they drop a bill, and if they try to jam it into that committee. If it is so, social media channels are gonna be abuzz, and it will be very important to see if we can get anybody, get Madison, to pack the hearing hall. Because again, Madison, there's just a few holdouts in Madison that don't get this issue. Well, maybe they do. Well, packed, a little back to but there's just a few of them holdouts, but they may need to hear from all of us going to a hearing. So watch your social media channels, and we'll keep everybody apprised.
Question over here.
Yeah, I'm a riparian owner on Whitewater Lake, and I appreciate being here and hearing the program. I came to the last program too, several months ago. Right now, Whitewater Township is considering they're toying with an ordinance that some sort of restrictions or some sort of ban on wake surfing on the lake. I'm very concerned about the bottom of the lake, the particular portion that I live on. It's probably about 10 feet. You might find, you know, a 13-foot area, it's very small on that portion. It happens to be the side of the lake where I skied on since I was a little kid because it was always more calm. And that's where these wake surfing boats are. And so I'm very concerned about what that do to the bottom, as you saw on the presentation. My question is how concerned should the Whitewater Town Board be about getting sued if they pass this type of an ordinance?
So,
Green light green.
you know, the message had been, they keep threatening, nothing is coming forward. We're now seeing that they are coming forward. The credibility of the lawsuits, we feel, are not strong. They're probably going to drag on for years, which means that it delays things. And that is one of the big tactics of the industry is delay, delay, delay. I think that there always is a legal risk with anything you do. It should not stop you from moving forward to do the right thing, is my opinion. And if you use the sound data, and if you get the community backing, and it's an ordinance that comes through the community and the voice of the community, you're following the will of the people, and I think that'll stand up at the end of the day in court. Is my personal
Tom,
opinion.
I will add one more thing. Town of Manitowish Waters passed a ban, and a group of wake surfers and trying to get both a temporary restraining order on the ordinance and a preliminary injunction on the ordinance. This is all taking place over the last 10 days. And in both cases, the judge up there turned it down. He turned down the temporary restraining order, he turned down the injunction, and he basically said, look, I don't see that you have a strong enough case at the moment to warrant me putting an injunction to suspend the ordinance. Now, does that mean that ultimately the league boat owners up there will or won't prevail? Don't know, but the judge said, this looks kind of flimsy to me. Come back, file your suit, and it could take a couple of years. There's one other suit that's ongoing. It's up in the town of Scott in northwest Wisconsin. There's a couple guys sued the town on their ordinance. They didn't get an injunction up there either. And what's interesting in that one, that's a six foot average depth lake that these guys want to continue to wake surf on. And so they filed their action back in the spring. And they filed it before Beulah results came out, Minnesota Phase 2 came out. Good luck winning that case. So again, this issue is going our way. We just need to stay together, united, and active.
Yeah, let me add one thing to the public trust doctrine protects access for folks to the lakes, right? The ordinances that are being passed prohibit a method of operation. So they prohibit the use of ballast tanks, churn devices, and operating a boat in continuous modified fashion to enhance the weight. They do not ban the boat. That boat without the ballast tanks full, pulling a tuber or a water skier is not going to do what we see. It's that method of operation. So I think there was a letter by
Yeah. So as part of our lobbying efforts, a year and a half ago, we got one of the state senators to ask the Legislative Council of Madison, would a wake surfing prohibition, enhanced wake ban, violate the public trust doctrine? And there is a state legal opinion that's on our website, was issued in December of 2023, that says that their opinion is Legislative Council advising the state of Wisconsin legislators that wake surfing prohibitions do not violate the public trust doctrine. That's a pretty neat precedent that's out there.
Yes, in the back.
So I've heard folks from Browns Lake and Whitewater Lake, how are you guys coordinating with other area lakes? So if 3 lakes ban it and there's 2 lakes left, those 2 lakes don't just get bombarded.
Hammered. Well, we are quite busy here on our own lake, but we have been answering questions. We've been providing information. Lakes are starting to request our signs. Big wakes hurt lakes, so you're going to see them elsewhere. The initial recommendation is that any sort of ordinance that we put through would be for the entire township, so it would be for the lakes that reside within. But frankly, we're getting some pushback from one of the lakes saying that they don't want to be a part of that. So it may look different here in East Troy. But
another local lake, Booth Lake, who Bonnie and Sean are very familiar with in our area tribe. They are actively, they have a town board that appears that they will be responsive to protecting that lake. And I would fully expect that for next year they would probably have something done there. Just for an example, Bonnie and Sean, the Saturday after 4th of July, they witnessed 6 wake boats wake surfing at the same time at Booth Lake. What's it, 118 acre lake. So I mean, yeah, we don't see much self-regulation, you know, within that. But that lake has really been impacted. I mean, if we think Lake Beulah is taking some hits, which it is, that lake is sort of a fast-forward version of what we will see in Lake Beulah if we don't get a grip on this. And your water clarity is down, fishing has suffered tremendously. It's really taken a hit, and it really needs protection. So I think we all support each other, and you know, it's the whole southeast Wisconsin community needs to rally to, you know, to support efforts in each of the lakes.
Yeah, and we're looking to actually host this coming spring a forum for southeastern Wisconsin for all of the lakes, even going down into Illinois, here on Lake Beulah, where this will be one of the key topics that's being addressed. Tim?
So, we're a science group, try to stay neutral. I'm also a grandpa. We get telephone calls from all across the United States and Canada. What do we do about this? The science is all agreeing it's bad. What should we do? What should we do? A couple of observations. The manufacturing industry is not 10 feet tall. They're not particularly well organized. They have a lot of money. They're not after the science, really. They're not even after the people that do the science. They're after the people that craft boats that they can buy. So it's democracy in action in the worst way. One. Two, people have asked me, well, this really is about changing human behavior. What do you do about that? That's really what it's all about in the end. Your comment is quite kindly about cigarette smoking. In '64, the Surgeon General said, this is not good for people. The science was unquestioned. Almost 50% of the population of the United States smoke. In 2022, a study was done. It's about 9% of the population of the United States smokes. So that's huge. How did they do it? Education, education, education. They banned it in public places. They put advertising on cigarette packages, so everybody, every time they picked up a cigarette pack, looked at that and said it's harmful to your health, particularly for pregnant. That gave people who ordinarily wouldn't say much license to say, I wish you wouldn't do that in this restaurant right next to my family. So one takeaway from all of you is to go talk with people and educate them. Because the confirmation bias for the people that have the votes that are entitled and they're not going to be told what to do, is not going to go away. But the vast majority are going to go, this is an unreasonable thing. It's inherently unfair. It's about 4% of the people who recreate on boats impacting everybody else. It's just not fair. And I think it will prevail. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Tim. Any one last question? Yes.
If the town is sued, who pays for the lawsuit? Do they have insurance or what happens?
Yeah, towns have insurance against this. I also will tell you there also are some legal reasons as why it's very hard to sue a town. And so again, if you're a town looking at doing this, you have to search your own legal counsel, you gotta make your own decision. But you also got a duty to protect the lakes within your town, and protect your residents. And so everybody is tracking these lawsuits. Carol, as you know, Last Wilderness Alliance and your husband doing an amazing job in bringing some defense on these lawsuits, including some law firm in Madison associated with Last Wilderness Alliance is working on this. So again, this is just all part of the process, and to Tim's point, this is just gonna take time. It's gonna take time to get the public perception, to get the science out. Again though, we are really, really winning this issue, and it's gonna be a fantastic, I think, next 12 months here in Wisconsin, to continue to advance and protect all the lakes that we love to enjoy.
Thank you, Scott. I want to do a commercial quickly on our upcoming Protect Lake Beulah Fall membership meeting. Again, that's going to be September 13th. That's my last day. But we're going to have a wonderful speaker who is going to be talking about the issue of quagga mussels and what can we do about it. And it's a topic that applies to all of us, and I hope that you come and you join us. It's also our electors meeting, and we'll be talking about this topic and other key issues that are happening around the lake. So please join us. And any other last announcements? Yes.
Brought up the aquatic conversation. So, you know, there can be a balance for as far as building decontamination stations in the state, because obviously they know this, and then it falls on each individual lake to try and deal with invasive species, which get brought in by people that know we're doing this.
Those are all very big questions that we're not going to have a definite answer for. We know the DNR has taken a very sit-back approach on this topic. We'll continue to have discussions with them. The wake boat not being able to empty the ballasts is a big, huge issue. It is probably the biggest threat to Lake Beulah in terms of encouraging boats to go to bigger lakes like Lake Geneva, where we know they have quagga mussels. If they bring that boat back onto Lake Beulah, there is a very high increased risk of introducing those quagga mussels, because 8 to 20 gallons of water remain in those ballast tanks. It gets mixed with water from our lake and then re-emptied. So the probability is very high. Another thing that I've learned now that we've been using a wake surf boat, and with the end of the season coming upon us, I was a bit appalled by looking at the information of how to winterize a wake boat. It requires taking 8 gallons of antifreeze and distributing it into the different holding tanks of the boat, and then in the spring of the year, flushing that out with water. Where is that going? It's going directly into our lakes, which it doesn't seem like a very environmentally astute thing. Yes?
We know what group or governing body owns the parking lot on where the police boats are on Bud Lake. Does somebody own that parking lot?
DNR.
The DNR owns the parking lot.
We buy it from the DNR?
Good luck.
No. The town manages it. The DNR owns it.
And that's why the lake is owned by everybody in the state of Wisconsin. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming and participating today. It was a very good discussion, and again, we ask for you to get active, get involved, help us to do the right thing for Lake Beulah. Thank you.
Hey, John.